how to quickly spot identity theft, how to clean up your credit report after identity theft has happened, and what to do to prevent identity theft from ever happening again. I'm Joe Chavarria, and this is another exciting episode of Cup of Joe. So today what I want to talk about is what to do when your identity is stolen. And before I begin, before I dive in, want to remind everybody to like, share, and subscribe to my channel. And if you ever were or even are a victim of identity theft, comment yes below if you ever had to deal with identity theft, or comment no below if you never had to deal with it. All right, so now to the topic at hand. First and foremost, let's talk about how to spot potential identity theft. So there's a couple things to look out for to determine if there is possibly some identity theft going on. And so if you're monitoring your credit report, you have access to your credit report, which most of us do now with the breakthrough of Credit Karma, many other websites out there that provide online services to have access to your credit report on demand. So if you're monitoring your credit report and you are noticing some new addresses get reported that don't belong to you, that are not yours, you never heard of, that's not the main indicator that, or for sure an indicator that you have been a victim of identity theft or currently are, but it is a sign that may be leading to such. So take note of that. Another thing to look at, if you see some random addresses on your credit file, look at the inquiry section of your credit report. If you see within like a moment's time, a moment's span, maybe within a 2-week period or 1-week period, you see a ton of inquiries, maybe some credit card inquiries, maybe some personal loan inquiries that you did not authorize, you did not do that, then that is a pretty good chance now that you are in fact being a victim of identity theft, or were in the past, depending on when those inquiries have. So you have random addresses, you have hard inquiries that are not authorized by you, and the reason why that appears and is pretty much safe to say that you are being a victim of identity theft is because what's happening is the perpetrator is using random addresses, or maybe their address, or just an address in general, and they're applying for credit cards using your name, your date of birth, your social, getting approved and having the card sent to that address so they can activate it and use it and get access to that credit. So the two combined would lead to a good indication that you may be a victim of identity theft, and so you want to begin to take action of that, take note of that. Or even if you're starting to notice like some credit cards on your credit report that you never open, that would be kind of like the stop measure, right? Because the first thing that's going to happen is the inquiry. The next thing that would happen would be a random address being reported, and the last thing that would happen would be the actual account being reported, because the inquiry would get reported within 24 to 48 hours of it happening. The address may take 7 to maybe 30 days to report, sometimes longer. And the account itself, if it's like a credit card open in your name, that may take about 30 to 60 days to finally hit your credit report. So if you notice credit cards on your credit report that do not belong to you, along with the inquiries and the addresses, then more than likely you are definitely a victim of identity theft. And even if you notice that some of your credit cards you have open are having some charges that are being applied towards it that you did not authorize, that doesn't mean you're a victim of identity theft, but it means that maybe someone got access to your credit card. Maybe you logged on to a public network for internet, and someone got access, like a hacker got access to your credit card through one of the websites, or so on and so forth. And so it doesn't mean you're a victim of identity theft, because they probably just got credit card information access, and now they're charging whatever they're charging to your account. And a lot of banks and credit cards have stop measures to prevent those fraudulent charges, so you as the cardholder aren't fully penalized. But I'm really talking about identity theft, someone getting a hold of your name, your date of birth, your social, to be able to begin opening up accounts in your name without your authorization, without your permission, without even your knowledge. So that's how to spot identity theft. Now I want to talk about what to do to fix it. Okay, so this is like maybe a few months after it's actually happened, you just notice it, or it happened and then you weren't able to prevent it or stop it or get in front of it in time, and these accounts are to report to your credit report. Maybe they were charged off, maybe sent to collections, because typically when someone gets a credit card in your name, someone who is actually performing the identity theft act or crime, they aren't going to pay the bill, right? Like if they get approved like $1,000 credit card in your name, well, they're not going to make payments on it. They're not going to keep it in good standing. Their intention is to just steal from you, get the credit line, buy whatever they want from it, and just be, out like a thief in the night, because that's what they are. So they're not going to pay the bill, and so the account's going to probably go 30 days late, 60 days late into a charge-off status eventually. And all that late payment activity is what destroys your credit score in the first place. When it gets sent to collections, it hurts even more, but most of the damage is done from the late pays. So you want to get that information off of your credit report. So the very first thing you need to do is file a police report. Contact your local police department. They'll send a sheriff or a constable to your house. They will document what happened. You're going to tell them the story, give them as much details as possible, and they're going to file the police report. Some police departments actually will follow through. They'll try to really investigate it and find the perpetrator, based on whatever information you can provide and what they can look into. But many of them will just document that it happened, give you a police report, and that's really what you need to begin cleaning up your credit. You need that police report filed. And so make a copy of it. Keep the original of the police report. Make yourself a copy. Maybe make a couple copies, because you're going to send this out, in the mail to the credit bureaus. So get your police report. The second thing you want to do is get an affidavit. You can download one online. In fact, I'll put the link in the description below, where you can get an approved letter template affidavit where you can go and get it notarized. You're going to want to get it notarized. It's just a statement of fact stating that these accounts are not mine, and that document is notarized, by a notary. So you have a witness that's also, a witness to you, confirming that this document was signed by you, done by you, that you are, stating facts that these accounts are not yours. These are a victim of identity theft. So you want to complete the affidavit, which again, that link is in the description. Just fill it out, print it off, take it to your bank or take it somewhere where they have notary services. To get it notarized, sometimes it's $10. Sometimes if you have a bank, I know Chase Bank, for example, they don't charge for notary services as long as you have an account with them. So a lot of your banks will probably do it for free, but get it notarized, okay? And then the last thing you want to do, the third thing you want to do, is create yourself a little letter template, address one to Equifax, one to Experian, one to TransUnion, and short and sweet, put your name, put all your contact information there, and then list the accounts that were a result of identity theft. Include the account name, the account number, as much account number information you have, and any details about the account, and also indicate that this account was opened fraudulently. It's not your account. This account was a result of identity theft, and include in the letter that you are including a copy of the police report and the notarized affidavit. This should come off your credit report right away. And if it doesn't, you may want to follow up the credit bureaus a couple times, but be sure to include the letter that states what accounts are a result of identity theft, include your police report, include a copy of the notarized affidavit. That really should take care of it. And last but not least, the last thing I want to talk about is once you've cleaned up the credit report, once you have these items off your credit report, now you need to discuss and have a plan on how to prevent this from ever happening again. So earlier I mentioned the credit monitoring service. And so I would recommend getting with a paid credit monitoring service that also offers a identity theft insurance policy. A lot of companies, a lot of credit monitoring services where you pay a monthly fee for, have embedded in their product line sometimes $1 million identity theft insurance policy. So in the event that identity theft does happen, the insurance will kick in, cut you a check for some of the damages, and so you can kind of like go through this process again, but not out of your own pocket. That's what you have the insurance for. And so a good one I would recommend is Identity IQ. I'll put the link to that website as well in the description. That's about $19.99 per month, and they'll allow you to monitor your credit just like Credit Karma. But the main difference is with this one compared to like Credit Karma, some of the other ones, is the insurance policy for one, for identity theft, and for two, it also provides Experian, where like Credit Karma only provides Equifax and TransUnion. This credit monitoring service provides all three: Equifax, Experian, and TransUnion as well. But most importantly, that protection plan that's in there, so in the event that you are a victim of identity theft again in the future, you have a little bit of help here, so it's not going to be so much of a cost out of your own pocket. So that's the first thing to prevent yourself from being a victim of identity theft again, is getting a good credit monitoring service. The second thing is to contact the credit bureaus and put a fraud alert on your credit report. There is a 90-day automatic free fraud alert you can put on your credit file. Just contact one of the credit agencies, and they're required to notify the other two that you are placing a fraud alert on your credit file. The fraud alert basically prevents anyone from being able to get access to your credit file. You usually get like a PIN number or PIN code. Like in order for someone to check your credit report, they'd have to call a special number, give this PIN code, and then the fraud alert is basically dropped for like a temporary period of time to allow that lender, that bank, to view your credit report if you are in fact yourself applying for credit. But it really just prevents any other future hacks or any future credit checks without your authorization. So there's fraud alerts. You can even put a credit freeze. That's actually now made free to the public. Credit freeze used to be like $12. Now you can get a credit freeze as well. Contact the credit bureau, talk about a credit freeze. So just do something to put some protective shields over your credit file that doesn't make it so easy to gain access to your credit report. Having some kind of freeze or some kind of long-term credit or fraud alert on your credit file is going to really prevent anyone from gaining access again, because there's basically like a block on your credit file. So that's what you want to do to prevent it from ever happening again. That's what you want to do if you are a victim of identity theft, how to begin cleaning it up. You want to make sure that you contact your local police department, get that police report, get that affidavit completed and signed, and send a letter to all the bureaus identifying what accounts were a result of identity theft, and include a copy of the police report and a copy of the notarized affidavit, and that should really take those items off. If it doesn't, you may need to follow up with the credit bureaus a couple of times until they actually follow through with all of that. And then just be on a good credit monitoring service moving forward, so you can keep eyes on that, keep monitoring that, and stay on top of it. Now, if you were and are a victim of identity theft and you haven't really taken action and you would like to take action, then click on the link in the description. There's a link in there to schedule a complimentary credit consultation. That way, one of my team members can reach out to you, get a better understanding of what happened, what accounts were a result of identity theft, maybe all of them were a result of identity theft, and we'll put together this entire process for you. So if you don't really have time to mess with this, you got a lot going on, hey, that's totally fine. Life is busy, we get it. Just click on the link in the description, schedule your complimentary credit consultation, and me and my team would be more than happy, more than thrilled to help you get this resolved, get you back on track, get you to be able to use your credit again for your own purposes, your own benefit, whether you're trying to buy a house, get better interest rates on a vehicle, maybe start a business. This is something that should not haunt you and hold you back for the rest of your life. So I'm Joe Chavarria. Thanks for tuning in on another episode of Cup of Joe, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Take care.